Hi and welcome back to Cheeky Crypto. Today guys, we're going to be taking a look at Zilliqa. With a recent 36% pullback, what is next on the horizon here for ZIL? As we get into this video, if you find it useful and informative, hit the like button. I really do appreciate that. If you are new to the channel, do subscribe, tap the bell, select all notifications, and in doing so, you will be kept up to date with everything that we do here. Right, with that said, done and out of the way, let's get into this technical analysis on Zilliqa. This will be a brief one, guys. There isn't too much to talk about, but there's a couple of things I do think are important that we understand. One is with this weekly chart, there are 5 impulse waves to the upside. Okay, and we can see that things really could kickstart back in March of 2020. They peaked up here, I think that was about June. The wave 2 kind of bottomed out towards the end of the year around September time. Then we saw a good surge to the upside with wave 3. Wave 3 peaked out in May, and we started to see the nice, healthy kind of pullback that was needed. And this took us down to some low areas in wave 4. This was around kind of July time, and we did see a pretty significant pullback for Zilliqa, but this game was another accumulation period. Then now we have started a good push to the upside, and here we obviously are kickstarting wave 5, a bit of recovery. And it looks like we are going to continue that recovery to the upside overall. We're about 790% from our target of 92 cents. So pretty lucrative returns are on the horizon as we look to finish this bull run in the near future. Now, overall, the impulse waves have been working exactly as planned. There's no issues with this. We have a flat wave 2 and a sharp wave 4. These two waves will always mirror each other, right? So we can't have 2 sharp ones or 2 flat ones. If one is flat, the other will be sharp, okay? So the fact that wave 2 is flat, wave 4 was sharp. Wave 1 and wave 4, these also have to adhere to the rules. Wave 4 cannot go lower than wave 1, and that has also been perfectly fine for us. Therefore, these 5 impulse waves are working and are still intact. Nothing has been invalidated, which is good to see. So overall, everything is working quite nicely. And no major issues really on this weekly chart. We can see that we've entered the overbought area in the same way that we were overbought for wave 1 and wave 3, looking at wave 5 being overbought as well for a couple of months or so. We can see that during wave 2 and 4, we were oversold, and again, this was pretty standard for the space. And again, as we look to come up towards 92 cents, we will be looking to pull back significantly into a bear market where we will be consistently oversold with small bounces to the upside, which won't last very long. So overall, everything's looking pretty good on the weekly chart. Nothing major to report, just a good push to the upside is due with about 791% or so. As we get into the daily chart, this is where we see a little bit more of what's been going on recently. And here we can see, that 36% pullback that we were talking about. You can see that just here. We have recovered about 22% since then. And we are above the 236 area of the Fibonacci retracement tool. And again, we've had wicks go into this area, but we haven't closed in there. So again, pretty good tell that things are looking pretty good. We can see that we are, of course, in the oversold area on the daily. So we are looking to push this up in due course. And again, we have been up here for quite some time during this particular push to the upside overall. We are looking to try to get back into these areas where we found resistance previously. This would be the 382 area, coming in at 12.9 cents. This is an area that we were heavily concentrating around and where we got the pullback from recently. So we are looking to slowly work our way back up to this area of 12.9 and then work our way up towards the key areas here of the 618, 702, 786. Getting that closed candle up here is going to be absolutely vital. So we're looking for a weekly closed candle above 21 cents. That's going to be the key thing for us. That will really be a big bull signal taking us to those price discovery and the next level for ZIL. Overall, when we actually take a look at this, there are no issues that we can see from the data here, but it's important that we also marry this up with artificial intelligence, right? So we're going to use the advice.io dashboard where they use artificial intelligence and machine learning to give us the underlying value of a cryptocurrency. In this case, we're going to look at Zilliqa. Now, in the case of ZIL here, we are an A3 rated cryptocurrency overall. There are a couple of things that are really interesting here, right? Obviously, we're an A3 overall, and the AMI-HAD ratio is A2. So for AMI-HAD ratio, this is basically liquidity. Are there any potential issues with liquidity? Being an A2 rated crypto here is indicating there are no problems with that liquidity. So the AI and ML hasn't indicated anything with the underlying data that says there's problems with liquidity, which is good to see. As we come down, we can see the Sharpe ratio is an A2, and a Sharpe ratio meaning the risk reward ratio. And again, we're above the 50-day average. Although we have come close to crossing it, we're actually tracking okay as an A2 cryptocurrency. No problems to report risk reward ratio wise. The return on investment, the best it can be, A1. Again, hard to beat with the percentage gains that we've seen so far with ZIL. So again, it is obviously very, very profitable. And we can see that the moving averages are up at A2. And the only problem that we can actually see with the underlying data is the fear and greed index. This is actually coming up as extremely fearful. So this is the thing that's really like chalk and cheese, because we see that we're an A3 cryptocurrency overall. We can see that we have a good Sharpe ratio. We see we have a good return on investment, good moving averages, good liquidity. But there's fear in the market. There's basically discounted ZIL for sale. So when you start seeing data like this and you say, okay, well, we're pulling back, sure, and ultimately people are selling Zilliqa. They've lost faith in it, or for whatever reason, their patience isn't there. They're selling their ZIL. There's a lot of fear for ZIL right now, and there are going to be some smart money out there that is going to be buying up that fear. So overall, when we have good ratings overall like this with A3, A2, A1s, and yet we see the fear in the space, this is the kind of fear that I like to buy. So overall, when we start seeing these pullbacks in the space, we know that we're oversold on the daily, we're looking pretty good on the weekly, and there is a little bit of fear up for sale, and that's really interesting. When we jump down into our hourly, here you can see what's going on. So with this, there is a downward trend and an upward trend, okay? The downward trend really kicking in from this upper bound just here, and it's been tested a couple of times, and obviously the upward trend is also, and these two things come together nicely in a triangular wedge by the 17th of August. One thing that we are going to know is whether or not that fear is going to succumb and actually take us down lower, or whether or not we buy up that fear and we send this thing to the freaking moon. Overall, everything's looking pretty good, and my tell is actually that we are more than likely going to push to the upside in the long run, because the daily chart and the weekly chart are lined up quite nicely. With that being said though, we could potentially see a small pullback on the smaller time frames. This is because we are of course heading down on our stochastic RSI. We're looking to track this down back to the oversold area so that we can push back up. Right now, as we dive into this, we can see that we're holding our support of 10.4 cent very, very well, and if that continues, then we potentially might not actually slip down too far. We might just hover around this area here for a bit and then get that explosion to the upside that we need once we're oversold. Overall, I am seeing some pretty important moves happening here in the short term for Zilliqa. One way or another, we'll know by the 17th whether or not the downward trend is going to continue, or whether or not we're actually going to invalidate that and push up significantly to the upside. There is a lot of work though to be done with Zilliqa. I'm not talking about moving to the moon straight away. In fact, we are probably going to have a couple of months or so before we actually get up to all-time high territory. That being said, I would like to be wrong about that, and I'd like to see it happen much sooner. But considering everything that's going on with ZIL and the amount of fear that's in the space, I think it's going to be a bit of a battle to kind of get over the 786 area. So we'll be monitoring that over the next few weeks to see how things play out, but I'm pretty confident in where ZIL is going overall. If we're ever in doubt, we do zoom out, we pay attention to what is going on with the bigger picture. We can see that the 4.236 extension here comes in at 92.5 cent, and that is where I am anticipating Zilliqa to land at the end of the bull run. Overall, I'm not too bothered about the short-term moves because I have long-term vision, and I like to zoom out on the weekly to make sure that I'm fully aware of what is going on with the bigger time frames. Ultimately, this is where I can curb my emotions and keep everything in check. Overall, I think we are likely to see 971% in gains here for Zilliqa in the near future. Guys, that is my brief update on ZIL. If you have found it useful and informative, hit the like button. I really do appreciate that. If you are new to the channel, then do subscribe, tap the bell, select all notifications, and in doing so, you will be kept up to date with absolutely everything that we do here. With this said, done, and out of the way, I hope everyone has a fantastic day, and I'll catch you all in the next one.